Warning, this is going to have mentions of blood, and is anyone tired of villain Deku? Well, villain yandere Deku? Well, here's another part for him. Oh, I just became very loud. I saw my mic raise up. I'm sorry if that bursted some eardrums. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this. My mic is saying I'm super loud. I'm sorry. But let's get on. My eyes seem to flutter open as my head starts to pound. Jesus, what did I do? I ask as I look around. I try to blink away the tiredness from my eyes as it caused my vision to blur. After a moment of blinking, my eyes watered. I scanned the area, seeing that I wasn't in Recovery Girl's office. What the hell? I looked down and saw that I wasn't in my hero costume anymore, but instead had a shirt on that was a little longer and a bit bigger, along with a pair of shorts that seemed to be too short for my liking. I tugged at the clothes and tried to look around for my costume, but it was nowhere to be found. My head seemed to pound more, and I felt multiple bruises on my body, seeming to form. Where am I? I seemed to be in a bedroom that definitely wasn't mine. It was a plain room, nothing too special. There seemed to be a dresser on my left, with little flakes of dust on top of it, along with a stack or two of clothes. Next to it stood a mirror. It laid in the corner, as it rested on the ground. There were a few cracks on the edges of it, and a few scratches on the border of it. On my right was a small bookshelf with a lot of random books. Next to the bookshelf was a wooden desk that seemed to have multiple papers and documents spread out across it. Mixed with the papers was a silver laptop that was open. It had on it a hero selection of news, along with tabs of other websites. I didn't pay too much attention to it as I swung my legs over the edge of the bed that I had been laying in. Looking in front of me, I could see an open door, which seemed to lead to the bathroom. I looked over to my right and saw another door, assumingly leading to the outside. I don't know what's out there, so I have to be careful. Once I stood up, I noticed something on my hands, which surprised me. Looking down, I realized that my hands were in some sort of metal containment-like box. Not understanding why, I didn't notice it before. I tried to heat my hands up to melt the metal, but it didn't seem to work. There seemed to be bruises forming at the top of the box around my wrists, probably from wearing it, and it says from wearing it and it. And there also seemed to be dried blood spots on the edge of the containment box. I sprinted, trying to see if my hands were bleeding, or if it is from something else. Sighing in frustration, I continued to look around, taking small details of the room. There seemed to be pictures of different heroes in the trash, each with a red X over them. Taking notes of this, I decided to hurry my search for a key or way to break out of this metal box. I groaned slightly as my head seemed to hurt, as my memory seemed to be foggy. All I remember is going to another trip to the rescue training center place. I forgot what Aizawa said it was called, but I remember we were about to begin when villains attacked us like last time, and My eyes went wide and I started to remember the chain of events. I quickly rushed around the room, quicker this time, in search of a key. The one ended up knocking me out and probably took me here. Just as I was about to try and search the drawers, I heard footsteps near, which caused me to panic. I looked around and decided to quickly get back in bed and pretend to be asleep. I was used to doing this since I would do it all the time as a kid. I quickly shut my eyes, just as the doorknob seemed to jiggle. Panic and curiosity filled my body as the footsteps entered the room, and I heard them near me, then stop. My breath hitched as I feel someone come close to my ear. Their hot breath sent chills up my spine as I hear them whisper, "You know, you look so adorable when you play pretend." They backed up as I gave up with my plan and sighed. Looking at the boy, I took in his features. Emerald green hair seemed to stick out as greeny eyes stared down at me with a smirk. The boy seemed to lean in slightly as he gently grabbed my chin. "You look even more beautiful in person." He backed up and left towards his desk, grabbing a few papers and seemingly organizing them. I sat up and looked over at him as he started to speak again. "You know, I've been obsessing over you and your classmates and taking notes of each one of you for a long time. It's so nice that my hard work finally pays off." I looked at him with confusion as he kept organizing the paper. After a little bit of flipping through them, he found certain ones and brought them towards the front. Turning around, he faced me, the papers in hand. He grabbed a few and threw them in front of me. They all landed right in front of the box hands as they spread out. Examining them, my eyes went wide again. They were pictures of me in combat at the sports festival, and pictures of me out in town, either shopping or hanging out with different restaurants with my friends. I quickly looked up and went to speak, but he beat me to it. "You have an amazing profile, Yin Lin, but why waste it as a hero? Amazing potential, Yin Lin, but why waste it as a hero?" He came closer to me and sat down on the bed, giving me a smile. I must admit, he was quite handsome, with his bright forest green eyes that seemed to hold many mysteries to them. They looked me up and down as he spoke, eyeing me to my core. It didn't make me feel uncomfortable, but I didn't really care for it. "And why waste your potential keeping my ass here?" I snapped back, which caused him to frown. He rolled his eyes and which caused him to frown. He rolled his eyes and stood up from the bed. "You're here because you belong here, not just with the league, but with me, of course. No way in hell would I ever be with you. I don't even know who you are, and you barely even know me, except for my name and that. Just because you have pictures of me and all doesn't mean you actually know me." Again, he rolled his eyes and turned around, walking towards his desk again. He scanned through the papers and grabbed another paper off his desk and threw it on the bed, on top of the pictures. "And just because you only see the pictures and everything around here doesn't mean you know everything about me either." He stood over me as my legs stuck behind me on the bed. I hand my boxed hands on my lap. Once they started to get tired from holding them up, I looked up at him as he stared into my eyes. I hear a little clicking noise as I look down to see a pocket knife in his hand. He brings it to my cheek, and I lean away, but his hand quickly grabs my face and holds it. "I know everything about you. I know your strengths, your weaknesses, your favorite things, your friends, your family, everything. I've watched you for so long that I probably know you better than you know yourself. He chuckles insanely as he brought the knife down to my skin, holding the cold metal gently on it, not making a cut. So you see, you belong next to the league side, next to my side. So join me in. I'll give you protection towards everything. You'll never be harmed. I stared at him, trying to find a way out of this. And together, we can cleanse this world of heroes, make it a better place again. He ran his knife over my cheek, thinly slicing it open. I bit my lip as I thought about it. He's not wrong. Heroes have become jokes in today's society. To today's society anymore, but nobody seems to realize it. They seem to plague the media with a false image of themselves, but everyone is too blind to see it. He seems to grow impatient of my thinking because next thing I heard was chills up my spine. His voice went dark. His bright eyes seemed to fog over by some sort of insanity. He gave me a smile as he looked down at me, this time leaning in again towards my ear, his hot breath hitting me once again. I could practically feel him smirk as I grew tense. And if you don't join me, well then... I felt the weight on the knife grow harder as he pressed more into my skin, drawing more blood down my cheek. I closed my eyes a bit and bit my lip as it trembled. I gave a small nod and looked up into his eyes, finally knowing my answer. I'll do it. I'll join. He gave a quick, closed-eyed smile to me as he leaned down towards my cheek, feeling his lips press against the small but deep cut caused him to loosen up. I felt sort of relaxed by his touch, which I know I shouldn't. He pulled away for a few seconds, blood draining down the corner of his lips. Taking notice of it, he licked it up and then placed a kiss on my forehead before looking down at me. Smart girl. Now, let's get to work.